Hello, I'm Aidan Foster, the Belleplate soloist from the UK, and today I'm going to tell you about some of the techniques you can do on your own set of bell plates. In my videos over at soloinger.com, I use just over 2.5 octaves of bell plates to ring solos. These range from G4 to F7. Today I'll show you some of the techniques you can do on your set. Firstly, I'm going to tell you how to ring a bell plate. Hold it by the handle just below where it splays out, and position the back of the bell plate towards your audience. Ring it in a circle, and when we get to the end of the circle, the clapper will hit the front of the bell plate, creating the note. If you follow that circle through, you'll get a better sound. Remember to keep it vertical, because this is where your sound is emanating, and you want to project that sound towards your audience. In order to damp a bell plate, instead of damping it flat against you, turn it round to the side. This will prevent you putting excess stress on the spring, which over time will make it looser. First technique I'm going to tell you about is let vibrate. This literally means don't damp the bell. This is useful for building up tones during pieces. Tower swing is useful on larger bell plates to change the sound slightly. Take your bell plate as normal, make sure there's nothing behind you. Ring it and go down and up. There's no need to go too far, as you could end up hurting your elbow. Just ring, down, up. This is usually used on bass bell plates. Thumb damp is one of the most common techniques in handbell music. Hold your bell plate as normal, but extend your finger and place it about 2/3 of the way up the side of the bell plate. Now ring it as normal. We also create a staccato technique. You can easily remove your finger and then replace it to go from ringing to staccato. On a bigger bell plate, you may have to put your hand higher up the bell plate in order to create enough damping effect. A brush damp is used in order to create a controlled diminuendo. This is usually used on a sustained note which you want to make quieter. Ring your bell plate as normal, but position your finger and run it up the side of the bell plate. At about halfway, if you go slowly, you can diminuendo in a controlled fashion. In order to play the echo technique, play your note as normal, but gently touch the leading edge of your bell plate against the foam table. If you do this gentle enough, it will create a slight dynamic variance. Without diminishing the note entirely. This technique is nearly always done on larger bell plates. In order to shake a bell plate, you have two options. Firstly, you hold it in normal fashion and ring it repeatedly as fast as you can. In order to create a slightly faster shake, restrict the amount of movement the clapper has. A vibrato technique uses a Doppler effect to slightly change the tone of the note. Play your bell plate as normal, but twist your wrist. This sounds particularly effective in a piece with sustained notes. A gyro is another technique where you can change the tone of your note. This is a particularly visual technique. You play your note as normal, and then rotate your wrist, as if you're lassoing the bell. A pluck is another staccato technique. In order to pluck a bell plate, position the back of the bell plate about 2/3 down the edge of your foam. Holding the clapper, throw it against the bell plate. From the other side, this looks like this. A table lamp damp is a good way of finishing a piece very sharply. Play your note as normal and then damp it against the table by dropping the bottom edge of your bell plate against the table. Mallet in a bell plate is used by taking your mallet and hitting the clapper ball into the plate. This may make the plate bounce off of the table slightly. This technique is used in many pieces. If you have a piece such as Grandfather's clock, take your bell plate, keep it within its protective wrapper, and play it as normal. This will create a sharper staccato sound. If you have an English manufactured set of bell plates, you can produce a Martillato sound by taking your bell plate, holding it about 35 to 40 degrees, and letting it drop into your table. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure to this. If you want to make it into a Martillato lift, do the same but lift the bell plate off of the table as soon as it's hit it. This will create a staccato sound that carries on reverberating. Over at soloringer.com there's a video of myself playing Symphonia on Hyfrydol using a bell tree to finish off. This is performed by stringing the handles of bell plates together to create a lattice work. By holding these up, you can hit the centre of each of the plates to ring the note. This will then carry on ringing If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message over at www.soloringer.com.